Makes it sound so intimidating when it does that. It's like, oh my God.
I started sweating. Oh,
Have you?
Yeah, it says this meeting is being recorded. Do I go continue? Do I do anything?
Yeah, I think you hit continue, so it like says you give consent to it being recorded. Do you have a drink or anything? Do you have a coffee?
I do have water.
Me too. I've got water.
I got a little water.
And my mug, you are enough. It's my favorite mug.
And it is so true.
Alrighty. You ready for this?
Yeah. Yes.
You're like, yes, asthma puffer.
I'm like, do I need to brush my hair? Jeez, I'm a bit of a wreck.
You are beautiful.
Yeah, hey, should I have my glasses on?
Yeah, I think you look smart with them.
Okay.
No, you are smart. Okay.
Okay. All right. Professional.
Okay. Professional. I'm thinking I'm not even going to cut this first minute out.
That's fine.
Lucky my friends are. You can tell the difference. All right.
Okay.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Carrington-Russell, Australian award-winning author of kick-butt heroines and action-packed fantasy steamy romance worlds. And we are talking to a very special guest today. I am talking to fellow Australian author who is well known for her devilish bikies and rock stars and everything that's romance in between. We are talking to 2019 ARA finalist Penny Dee. How are you today?
Hello, thank you so much for having me today. It's so good to be here. It is so good to be here.
I know, I'm so excited. And for those who are watching, Penny Dee and I are actually friends, very good friends. We live quite close by, so we often do little cafe meetups and write together. So this is going to be an interesting interview.
Yes.
But let's start from the start. How did you start writing and when did you start publishing?
Okay, so I've always written my entire life. I wrote my first book when I was 5 years old. And it was done in orange felt tip pen, and it was called The Goodies, and it was more of a picture book, not too many words. So that was it. I started at 5 and I've kept going my entire life. I published in 2014, which was crazy beautiful. And I had no idea what I was doing. All I did was write the book. It actually started out when I was writing, it was a vampire book. And by the end of it, it turned into a rockstar book. And if I had been really smart, I would have combined the two and made it like vampire rockstar book, but I didn't. It became a rockstar book. And I just hit publish. I didn't have any marketing. I don't even think I didn't even have a Facebook page. I just hit publish. And then I went down to the beach for the day, and when I came home that afternoon, I'd sold 3 copies, and I'm like, oh my God, look at me go. I've just sold 3 books. And I was really fortunate because a blogger reached out to me. Her name's Laurie Fisher, and she's in the States, and she's just a gorgeous human being. And I was such a noob. I just knew nothing, and she took me by the hand and she guided me through my first few years as an indie publisher. So, and she helped me out and steered me in right directions and everything like that. So yeah.
I think that's the weird thing is like when you go, so you and I started around the same, well, in the same year, should I say, and I don't think a lot of authors are prepared for what it actually is to make this into a full-time career, because you think you hit publish and that's it, you've done it.
Yeah. It's so much work, and I had no idea, because at the time, we're talking 8 years ago, there wasn't that much information going around on marketing strategies and things like that. So I had no idea. I just had written this book and I just uploaded it to Amazon and hit publish, and that was it. So I didn't know about anything.
Yeah. So were you working at the time?
Yes.
So when did you start noticing the huge momentum for yourself? When did you make this a full-time career for yourself?
Well, it's funny. I didn't really have a choice, because what happened was I had just written my first Kings of Mahem book, and I released it in January 2019. And 3 or 4 days later, I lost my job. And it wasn't just me. like the whole team at work. I was a supervisor, a content coordinator for a local digital marketing agency, and I looked after a team of 20 plus writers. And we went in on the Friday and we all lost our jobs because they ended up sending all the work overseas. So, and I went, oh my gosh, you know, what am I going to do? And I just published Kings of Mahem, and I thought, you know, I got a bit of a severance package, and I said to my husband, I really want to make a go of this. Like, I've got book 2 ready to go and I'm almost finished book 3. Why don't we just like see what happens? And I did, and I've been doing it ever since.
Wow.
So I was pushed off the plank. I didn't sort of willingly walk the plank and dive in. I got shoved off, and it worked out really well. So
it's kind of, that's interesting. Do you think that having that previous role, obviously being around content writers and being in that sort of digital marketing background, do you think that that skill set has helped you going forward in your writing career?
Oh, tremendously, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. You know, that the role and what I learned and language, words, as simple as that sounds, definitely helped with my career, you know, outside of marketing. So
Well, then
definitely.
I love that story though. I love that you had to kind of take the plunge, but you decided instead of looking elsewhere that you wanted to focus on it. And it has been a massive success for you. You do really well for yourself. So then it brings me back to that special release that came out in 2019, Kings of Mayhem. Can you tell us a little bit about that series? Was that really what snowballed your career, would you say?
Oh, definitely, because I hadn't written a series before. I'd written 3 books and put them out, 3 books in like 5 years. It was, I really didn't, you know, make a go of things. I really didn't put much thought into everything. So when I wrote Kings of Mayhem, and it was a series, it just, that's when my career took off, because I put a book out in January, one out in February, then one in April, and then one in July, and then one in December. And so that year of consistent releases, I think, really helped drive the momentum towards making you know, to being able to do this full time, and to getting my books in front of potential readers. The momentum had a great deal to do with it, I'm pretty sure.
What is Kings of Mayhem about for those who haven't read it at home?
Okay, so it's an MC romance series. The club is called Kings of Mayhem, and it's actually, I set it in Mississippi in the United States. That was actually because Laurie, who I mentioned earlier, she was a book blogger who reached out to me in the early days and really, really helped me out. Kind of soul. She lives in Mississippi, so I'm like, oh, and I'm going to set Kings of Mayhem in Mississippi, because she was one. I'd started writing Kings of Mayhem as early, I think, about 2016, 2017, and then I just sort of lost interest. And she's like, oh, what about the biker? You know, I really want to, what's happening with your biker series? I really want to read it. And she kept encouraging me. So she was instrumental in helping me get that series completed. So it follows the Kings of Mayhem, and it's really the Kelly family and the 3 sons and the daughter, and the uncle is the president, and it just follows their all of them falling in love and all the fun that happens along the way.
Take note that it's important about who you have around you and support you, because as you were saying, you're sort of losing interest in the writing, but because you had such an encouraging reader and friend, that was sort of what pushed you in. And look at how much you love that series now. So I think it can be very difficult to be disciplined to sit down and write it, especially, you know, when you are working prior to that coming out. So amazing that it came out. What advice do you have for writers who are wanting to try MC motorcycle? Do you have any advice or tips in writing that genre?
Oh, go for it. I had never read an MC romance book at all. I'd seen Sons of Anarchy, but I hadn't read any of the books. So I say just go for it. Go wild. Have fun with it, enjoy it, and yeah, get to know you. Get to know when you're writing a series, you have to know your characters. I mean, you have to know your characters when you're writing a book anyway, but in a series you get to know them so incredibly well because you spend so much time with them. But yeah, if you're thinking of writing an MC romance, go for it. It's definitely a popular genre. And it's a lot of fun to write.
Did you have to do any questionable research for Motorcycle?
Well, my husband rides a Harley. Not that makes him like a biker or anything, but no, not really. I just, because it wasn't so much, I created how I imagined everything would be. Like it's purely fiction. I have no idea about what it's really like to be in that sort of environment. I just wrote about the characters, and then the environment sort of fell into place, so they're tough guys, but they've got big hearts, and yeah. And they kind of got a little bit darker as the series moved along. But you get inspiration from all around you, really. TV, all sorts of things.
You say that you would dabble into other genres perhaps then once this series is completed. Is experimenting elsewhere something in the cards for you?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. So I have got plans for a mafia duet, and also high school romance. Okay. So that's going to be 3 books. So yeah, so that's coming. They'll be coming up later in the year.
So you a plotter or a pantser then?
I used to be a pantser, and that's why I think it took me 5 years to release 3 books. So now I'm a plotter. I met up with, over Zoom with Steph Green, and she is a very well-known author. And she also has this course called the Skeleton Draft. And I took that, and it has helped me tremendously in outlining my books beforehand. So the process is, do you want a step by step?
Yeah.
On how to do it? Yeah. Okay. So what I do is I decide what the book's going to be about, because when and what trope it is, because your trope is going to dictate. If you're doing like a surprise pregnancy trope, you're going to have a scene where she finds out she's pregnant, he finds out she's pregnant, any complications and all that sort of stuff. So whatever your trope is, there'll be expected scenes. So I jot them all down, and then any other scenes and dialogue that I know, and I put that all into order. And by that stage, I've kind of, throw in an inciting incident and that sort of thing. And then I've got kind of like a skeleton of an outline. And then I go back to the very beginning, and I start with chapter 1, and I look at my notes that I've written for chapter 1, and I just go and start writing.
That's interesting. So I think I write very similarly. I think I have a skeleton draft, so to speak, where you're sort of, it's vaguely plotted, but you're sort of pantsing in between as well. You're sort of letting the characters lead you through it. What does then your day-to-day look like? Would you consider yourself as a very disciplined writer? You're very 9 to 5 on this and that. Monday you do this, Tuesday you do marketing, or are you a lot more free-flowing with it, but still with that high expectation of yourself being a full-time writer?
I wish I was super disciplined, but I'm a Pisces. I'm not. I am so not disciplined. But I've got between 8 and 2 is my window of when I can achieve the most with my writing. So that's when I write. And I have on a Sunday, I do what I call a Sunday brain dump into my diary on everything that I have to get done. And then I break up all my tasks that on Monday, I'm going to be writing chapter 5 and chapter 6. And then on, Tuesday, it's going to be 7 and 8 and that sort of thing. So, and I've got between 8 and 2 to write it. So I'll write those 2 chapters, and I have to get them done because from 2 till 5, that's when I'm supposed to be off going to gym and doing my non-authoring things.
Focusing on yourself.
Yeah,
you sound reasonable.
I try to get my yes, sometimes, but life happens as well, and or COVID, and things get derailed. So, but if I've got to write 2 chapters that day, I'll write those 2 chapters. They might be a big pile of written, they're completed, and I can go and fix them up later.
You can only choose one, but what would you say your favorite book so far has been to write, and why?
Favorite book that I've written would be Beautiful Dangerous, which isn't available anymore, but it was the most fun to write. It was my second Rockstar book, and I didn't have any expectations surrounding it. I was writing it purely because I fell in love with it, with Layla and Jack, so with the 2 main characters, and it was so much fun to write. I loved it. And it did okay when I released it in 2015, but I took it down in 2020, I think it was, because I wanted to re-edit it. I actually reread it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this needs a bit of work. So I've taken it down, and I will eventually put it back up. But that was the most fun to write. My favorite so far.
I think that happens a lot for us when we look back at previous work, because after doing this for 8 years, you get a little bit better at your craft. So when you do look at that previous work, you think, oh my goodness, I hope nobody ever reads this. Just kidding. Everybody. That's why I put it down. One thing I do want to discuss, obviously we talk a lot about marketing. I want to sort of specify a little bit on social media. TikTok. You love and you hate TikTok all the same. So I'm curious as to what advice you have for fellow authors when it comes to social media, and especially TikTok as well.
I'm probably the worst person to ask about social media because I don't think I'm very good at it. I have somebody who looks after my Facebook ads for me because she's very good at that sort of thing. So she looks after that for me. But in regards to TikTok, you don't take it so seriously. Just go and have fun and try and do, if you've got an idea, try it and try it again and try it again and try something different. Go and have a look at what all the other authors are doing. I've tried different things, but the page flips is what works for me. Page flips in the dialogue or the quotes or a blurb or something, and just don't worry about likes and if it's going to go viral or what. Just do it.
Because you've had a video go viral on TikTok as well, haven't you?
I did.
How did you find that? Like, did you notice a substantial results from it, or?
Definitely, yeah. So for about the week, for the week and then the week afterwards, and maybe a little, the week after that, definitely a huge surge in sales and page reads on KU. It was really good. And if you can back it up with another one soon after, then, you're laughing. The beauty of TikTok is that it just puts you in front of so many potential readers. And it is so worth, 10 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour, however long you dedicate to doing it, it is so worth it to get something up and on there so people can see it. Because it will definitely impact your sales and page reads, which is what we want.
What resources or what books or what authors have you followed that you would say really gave you epiphanies in your career, or that you recommend to other authors to read or listen to because there was good value in it? Do you have anything like that you'd recommend?
I am always trying to improve my craft. I'm always trying to, perfect a process. I'm always trying to find a more streamlined way. And that, I think that comes from me in my previous role, always trying to have the processes really streamlined so you're more productive and that sort of thing. So I'm reading all the time, different books. Chris Fox books have been really good. Romancing the Beat was also a really good one. Steph Green, who I mentioned before, she is so worth I had a one-on-one with her, and I love her. I think she's amazing. And her skeleton draft was a game changer for me anyway. But I can't think of too many specific things, because I'm constantly always, whenever I meet new authors, it's like my second question is, so how do you plot? Or how do you do it? I'm always keen to know how other authors do things and what their processes are.
Yeah.
So I'm always chatting about it.
And in person, for example, as well, we, as I said, you and I do a lot of sort of writing sprints, and then we also have monthly catch-ups with fellow authors and go out for lunch, and it's always bouncing ideas or seeing what might have worked, what marketing, what contracts in the past. And I find that's really, what's the word I'm after? Invaluable is what I want to say, because we all have different paths and journeys in our writing career, and we've all had different opportunities. So it's quite enlightening to see what has worked for others and what hasn't. And, if somebody's constantly saying, read Romance the Beat, then you're eventually going to go, okay, a couple of people have loved this, maybe we should do that, for example. So I find that kind of community as well is very much invaluable to have.
It's super important, because someone can just mention something in conversation, and you'll click onto that. Nina Levine mentioned something about universal fantasies, and I went in and read the book, and I was just like, oh my God, this stuff is amazing, and it was just a passing comment. And I remember thinking at the time, oh, I'm going to have to go and have a look at that. And I did, and I just got so much from it. So when you're having those conversations with authors, or it could be you see something on a Facebook post or Instagram or whatever, and something will just stand out, follow that instinct and go and have a look at it, because that's where I find a lot of great information, or it'll spark an idea to do, something, or it'll get me out of the hole I've dug myself into, like some sort of marketing thing, or where I'm at, with a current work in progress, so being amongst those conversations, like I said, whether it's in person or on social media, is super important, super helpful.
So where you are now, what would you say your top 3 must-dos are before a release?
Oh, newsletter promo stacking, absolute. I hop. Sometimes I'll even dictate. They will dictate a release date. So you gotta. I promo stack those, and since I've been stacking newsletters around a release, I've had better release days. Absolutely. So things like Bargain Booksy, Red Feather, those sorts of things. ENT, if you can get one. BookBub, if you can get one. And I also use Give Me Books, the PR. So they'll do like the release day blitz and that sort of thing. And Facebook and TikTok, I hammer Facebook and TikTok and approach groups, on Facebook and see if I can drop a post in and that sort of thing. And they are the 3 main things that I do around a release.
All of those are great tips. I think especially the newsletter stacking, especially the last couple of years, has become very prominent and a massive push for a lot of authors, because it is our website, our newsletter is a platform that we own in regarding obviously social medias, as we're learning when the algorithms change, that a lot of things can break very easily. So it definitely is a good tip and advice to build on that. So 100% agree with that. is one thing that you would tell yourself, say if you go back 8 years before you hit publish, that you know now, what would you have told yourself before you started this?
It's a lot of hard work. Lot of hard work. Be prepared. It's not just about the writing. It's 50% writing and it's 50% marketing. Yeah. And don't be a 2014 Penny and a 2018 Penny who just wrote books and just press, submit, and not have any marketing behind it. You need a smoking marketing strategy.
Yeah.
So, if you want to get it's all about putting your books in front of potential readers. So, 50% writing, 50% marketing.
Speaking of readers and who we absolutely love, they are our everything. They make the dream come true. I would love to know what your most memorable reader interaction moment has been.
Oh my gosh. I was at a signing once and somebody came up to me and was really super excited to meet me. And I was just like, it really warms your heart. You just go, oh my God, because, you sort of, it was unexpected. You're at a signing and people are going to come in and look at your books and stuff like that. But when you actually have people come up to you and say, I love your books, I love your characters, it's something else. It's really something else. And I'm really lucky. I get emails from readers as well and Facebook messages as well. And they're just the most beautiful people, and just so I don't think they realize how much it means to an author. Like when you open up an email from someone who says, hey, I've just binged your entire series and I just love your characters and I love this or I love that, and you just go, oh my God, that's just so amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time to let me know, because it is the most amazing thing to hear.
Bizarre and amazing to be able to connect with somebody who might be on the other side of the world that you've never met and have that special bond because of something that you've written. There's no feeling like it, which I absolutely love about it. It's so rewarding. What then would you say has been your greatest challenge and your greatest accomplishment so far?
My greatest challenge, the first year that I was full-time, my dog Bindi, who was my writing companion, she passed away. And then one of my best girlfriends passed away very, very suddenly and unexpectedly. And it happened within a month of each other. Wow. And I was so brokenhearted. And I had a book due the following month. And it was so hard I was just crying all the time, and trying to write in that sort of environment, trying to pull those words out of a broken heart is very, very difficult to do. So that's been the hardest thing so far in my career, was trying to complete a book when feeling so upset and hurt.
There are a lot of authors, and I know personally that I've done it, I know a lot of other author friends have done this, is really try to push through that almost. And I want to say it's counterintuitive, because if you're not feeling it, if you're not connecting, we still need time for ourselves and we still need rest, and we need to make sure we're mentally in a good place to have that kind of discipline to be able to create something so wonderful and magical in book form. And I think it's a really difficult learning curve, especially the first time when you experience that, because then you beat yourself up more because you know what your expectation is, but you're dealing with this grief as well. So then you kind of beat yourself up about it at the same time. And I think that's something that you overcome with time when you start understanding that it's okay to have a break, that it's okay to put yourself first. And I'm really sorry to hear that you experienced that. And I hope that you took the time to nurture yourself, which evidently you have. You're still full-time writing. Yes, so what has been your greatest accomplishment so far then?
I think my greatest accomplishment was actually was completing that book. Look, in hindsight, I could have pushed that book back and taken the time to deal with my grief and what, the world, my new world looked like. And it wouldn't have, and nothing would have stopped if I had just taken that time, if I just pushed it back. But at the time, I remember thinking, this is my whole world. I have to, no matter what, get this book out. And I did feel good when I did it. I was like, wow, I let out this very deep breath, like, oh my God, I've done it. It's okay, and I did feel really good for having done that. So that to me was a huge accomplishment, was being able to work through all that grief. And also, I think completing the first Kings of Mahem series as well. It felt really amazing to have completed a series. It felt really good. So they were my highlights.
Yeah.
I think.
And in that same year as well, in 2019, you were actually a RF finalist as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Congratulations.
The Australian Romance Association. Put me on the spot. I can't remember what it stands for now. I got nominated for best continuous romance series. So that was for Kings of Mahem, and that was really exciting. It was really nice to be nominated, and to be amongst some really, really great author names was really nice.
I imagine it was very rewarding, giving you that staple of, I belong here, I'm doing a good job, and thank goodness, because I've just gone full time and something's happening.
It is, because a lot of authors, I think, suffer from imposter syndrome. I think we all get it at some point, where we start doubting if we're any good at this, or do I belong in this, and that sort of thing. So getting something like that was pretty cool. It was like, okay, maybe I don't suck as much as I think I do. So yeah, it was very welcomed.
As you said, it is something that we all deal with. So I'm a little bit curious then, what was something that helped you overcome imposter syndrome to a degree? Or when was the moment where you thought, this is it, I'm an author? Was it when you published your first book, or was it not until you became a full-time author?
Oh, look, I don't think I've actually overcome imposter syndrome at all. I still have those self-doubts all the time. I'm like, and with every single book, I think, oh, this is just a big pile of poo. This is no good. Like, people are going to read this and hate it. And then you'll have a day where you write the most kick-ass scene and you think, oh, okay, like, maybe this isn't as bad as what I think it is. And then, you have a release, and you that build up to a release date where you just, it's so exciting and terrifying at the same time. And then it all goes, the world doesn't end, it goes quite well and everything's good, and you kind of go, okay, like, everything's all right, I'm doing okay. So I think the experience of putting books out absolutely helps you when it comes to that. But if you're anything like me, there'll always be those little voices during the writing process. This is crap. No, this is good. So it's
that constant
balance.
But
definitely, I think experience. I think experience, and just go for it. Just, what? Sometimes just go for it. Just dive in and do it, and don't, you feel that way. But keep going, keep doing it. Because amazing things happen when you create shit. So do it.
So this is my favorite question to ask. What is the goal? What is the big dream that you were chasing for your career?
Oh my goodness. I would like to create super memorable characters. Okay, so there's two characters from TV that I absolutely love, and I would like to create characters as good as what I think they are, and that's Hassel Farrell from The Outsiders. It's an amazing TV show on Stan, and it's played by the very, very yummy Kyle Gallner. He's my hall pass, Kyle, if you're listening. And you might want to edit that out.
Absolutely not. That's staying in.
And Damon Salvatore from Vampire Diaries. I would love to create characters as amazing as those. Like that. Yeah, that's the dream, is to create a really kick-ass characters that people talk about and remember. And I'd also like to buy a house on the beach on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Which means I need what? How much is beach real estate going in our town at the moment, Kaya? I don't know, about $10 million.
Just a couple, but we'll get there, and I'm excited. So then I can come over for dinner every night. I'll just stay in one of your rooms. I'll move in.
Move in. The house next door.
Why not? More like I'll have the little granny flat next door.
Come and be my neighbour, and we'll go and drink wine on the beach.
We would not get any writing done.
I know. It's really terrible.
Exactly. We made it. We don't need anything. Oh, I can't wait. I have a segment called Speed Dating with an Author. So you and I are going to go on a very romantic date. I've lit a candle. I've created ambience.
You have.
I have.
I appreciate the effort.
Basically what it is 5 rapid questions. Are you ready?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yep. What's the clumsiest moment you've ever had?
Don't put me in heels. I've got too many. I have gone down on my knees on my, that sounds terrible. I've face planted it. I have fallen on my ass just so many times, and I'm like a newborn foal. So yeah, lots of times in high heels.
Amazing. Yeah. I will take note.
Clumsiest.
What are the 3 words that best describe you?
Chaotic, dreamy. I'm not saying I'm dreamy. I mean, I'm like a dreamer, like I'm a daydreamer. Oh my gosh, this is really hard. So what if I said chaotic, dreamer, very true Piscean? There you go. That's a cop out, isn't it?
Oh, that says a lot right there, square. What is your life motto?
Be who you want to be.
What is the song that best describes you?
Oh my God, a song. Think of a song. Can I come back to that one? I'm not quite sure.
No, I want an answer now. No, I'm kidding. Okay. All right. We can come back. You've only got one more question, so you better think quickly.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What is a unique talent or skill set that you have that not a lot of people know about?
Oh my God, I don't know. I'm not very talented. I'm a really good drawer, even if I do say so myself. Yeah, really? My first book was a picture book. I love drawing. I love art. I've always drawn. You put paper in front of me and I just draw.
Oh,
so,
I would love to see some of your work.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Next time we go to lunch,
you're on crayon. It's still going to be same level.
I'll doodle something on a serviette the next time we're out.
Yes.
No. Yes. Hey, I've thought of the song. Okay, it's actually I've got a tattoo, and that says Moon Age Daydream, and it's a David Bowie song. It's off Ziggy Stardust, Rise and Fall Stardust. And in it, there's 2 reasons I've got that tattoo. Is because the song actually reminds me of my daughter, and she's a huge Bowie fan, and I'm a huge Bowie fan, and every time we used to drive to work together listening to Bowie, so it reminds me of her. But there's also a line in the song that says, I'm busting up my brains for the words, and I'm like, oh my God, that's what I do. That's how it feels like for me, is I'm, busting up my brain, trying to get all these words out into the world. So yeah, that Moon Age Daydream would be the song that best describes me.
I have had so much fun, and I've learned a couple of new things about you today, which I also love. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Oh, thank you. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for asking me. It's been so nice having a chat with you today. So it's always nice chatting with you, Kaya.
Oh, sometimes. Depends what kind of day it is. No, I'm kidding.
No, it's always good. It's always fun. And sorry for my COVID voice. Sorry about the
the husky, sensual voice. Yeah, it was the worst. Hated it. Love it. And who knows? Watch your space. Maybe I'll get you on next year.
Oh yeah, definitely. Anytime. Now that you won't be able to get rid of me.
Likewise, you're stuck with me.
Yay.
Well, I'm gonna love you, leave you, Penny. But have a good day.
Same to you. Bye.
Bye, guys.